Yeah, 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 yeah. Moving, 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 moving. Yeah.
Okay, everyone, I hope I can keep this in focus, but I just want to quickly show you how to put the color sensor onto the robot so that we can use it. As you can see here, I'm going to try and keep it down here until I want to show you a bit of a close-up. There's the touch sensor on the back, okay? Hopefully you've already done that. There's the infrared sensor on the front. That will detect objects and how we get close, right? And then there's the color sensor here. So what I've done is I've just put the color sensor on the side of the large motor, facing back towards the touch sensor. So all you need is two little threes, okay, two little 3 bars that go through the little star, and then one down here and one up here, okay. I'll just show that a bit closer. Hopefully this focuses. So put two of these, kind of like that. I call them the hockey sticks. So get 2 hockey sticks, and then just put the star through up here where the color sensor is. Plug the communications cable, it fits nicely. The comms cable goes down underneath and into port 3. So that's all you need to do. Okay, so the robot's kind of actually it's building up a little bit. So the color sensor again is on the side with the 2 hockey sticks and 2 little stars, and just kind of sandwich the large motor. Right, sandwich the large motor, and you've got yourself a stand for the sensor. Okay, talk to you later. Bye bye. Hi everyone, Ottawa guy here. Welcome to lesson 5, color sensor. If you've been following the lessons, I'm glad to see that you've gotten to lesson 5. I hope that I'm getting a little quicker at doing them, and I'm just kind of touching on a couple things here and there that you guys can do that's new to you. Hope I'm not talking too fast, but if I am, just pause the video and just program what you can see on the screen and listen to a little bit of my banter, and you might learn a couple things. And please put in some comments if you see some things that I've said incorrectly. Anyways, we've done the build the robot. You're gonna have to go back and do if you want to start these lessons. We're pretty much building upon something, so you're gonna need to have done lesson 2, 3, and 4 before you do this one. And just look forward. The next one we're gonna be doing is remote control, and that's kind of cool because then we won't have to be bending over and touching the robot while it's in operation. We'll do everything through a remote. Um, so without any further ado, I'm gonna pop over to the project, and I'm gonna show you guys first how this I'm just going to quickly introduce you to the program, and then I'm going to show you the video of the first program, and then I'm going to show you how to program it. And then for the second program, I will do the same thing. I'll give you a brief intro and the demo, and the demo by showing you how it operates, and then I'll show you how to build it. So right now, I'm just going to pop over to the program to show you guys what you're going to see in the first demo. And if I take a look here, this program here is what you're going to see me do in about 2 minutes. So what it's going to do, it's an infinite loop here, and this project is based on the touch sensor and the IR sensor program. We're going to continue to build on them. So I kind of got rid of the back and forward stuff. That was too simple. So in this one for the for the color sensor, we're going to focus on making it react to colors that it sees. And I'm actually going to be using a Rubik's Cube because that has the colors that we need. So basically, to walk you quickly through this and then just show you the demo, we're going to start to do a couple more little programmatical things. I'm going to show you guys how to fool around with the brick status light, which is kind of fun because I think when it's usually running, it's only either in yellow or in green, but I'm going to show you guys how to control the colors. I'm also going to show you guys how to put something on the display. Although I'm not a big fan of the display. I'm probably going to mention this again, but it's too dark to me. I don't know why it's not backlit, but anyways, that's an issue I've had with this thing from the beginning. So basically, anyways, let me just explain. So this is going to be a loop that goes forever, and I'm actually going to introduce the something to you guys. But anyways, it's going to go forever, and then except for a little bit of a trick, it's going to each of these cases is a switch. So this is a switch. And what happens is we're going to be sensing the color that's going to be shown on the light sensor in port 3. Don't forget about the port. So what's going to happen is it's going to come down, it's going to loop forever. If it senses something on the color sensor, it's going to run one of these cases. We're going to be able to run something when it's green. When it's green, the robot's going to go backwards. When it senses yellow, the robot's going to go forward. When the sense is red, it's going to stop. And this is something I wanted to show you guys. This is a way to stop the loop. This is called a loop interrupt. So we're going to go through this loop forever, except there's a little catch. You can exit the loop by programmatically programming it. So what's going to happen is if it sees red, it'll do something. He'll say, and I don't know if I mentioned, but we're going to start to have this robot talk. So each time that we do something, it's going to like make the display say, may the display show something. It's going to change the brick color. It's going to say something, and then it's going to perform an action. And then these are the reset ones. I'll explain those later. So, and then you have a default case. So what's going to happen is every time it comes through here, if it doesn't sense anything here, it's going to go down through the default case, which is basically it's just going to sleep and snore. So the robot's just going to sit there and do nothing, and that's how you're going to see it. That's how it initially operates. Only when one of these circumstances is met will it run through one of these switches, one of these cases in the switch. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pop over to the demo, and I'm going to show you guys the video, and then we're going to come back and program this. Thank you. Bye-bye. Green. Yellow. Green again. Green again. Yellow. And now the red. That's the end of the demo. Okay, everyone. Let's see if I can get through this without making too many mistakes and messing this up. But I'm going to try and shoot this all in one shot. And let's just see if we can walk you guys through this. Okay, so Ottawa guy here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project called color sensor. So I'm just going to explain this right off the bat. I've already created the color sensor project for myself that we're going to code against, and I've just called it color sensor back, and I'm going to switch back and forth to that, but I'm going to walk you guys through in a new project on how to get this coded. So go get your touch sensor, which I believe was lesson 4, which the touch sensor, now we're on lesson 5 with the color sensor. Go get and open the touch sensor project. You won't be able to do, well, I mean, you won't be able to do this without going back and doing the previous lessons. So anyways, let's just get going. So we're going to take the touch sensor, make sure it's open, and we're going to do a save project as. And we're going to save it in a lesson 5 folder, and we're going to call this color sensor. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of tricks. It already exists. I'm just going to say yes. Okay. The back then forward, that program's kind of like too rudimentary. We're not going to really use that in our project. I'm just going to delete that. So I don't know if you guys know how to use the interface, but if you click on this little wrench over here, it takes you to kind of a project properties. There's various things. Maybe I'll have a lesson another day how you can operate this. But anyways, when you want to get rid of a program, just go to this little tool and click on, what was it called? Back then forward. Just click on that and then delete it. Okay, it's gone. By the way, in case you guys don't know, a star is put up here when you've made a change to your project. Just for the heck of it, I'll save it. The star goes away. But I saved, by the way, with a Control S. Backsense stop. I don't think we're going to need that at all. So I'm going to delete that one also. So let's get rid of backsense stop. Backsense stop. Go down here and delete that. Okay. So let me show you. I'm just going to clean this out a little bit. I'm not really sure what we're going to be using in here, but I'm just going to clean this up and we're going to start with a new program. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly go over to color sensor. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this program and I'm going to walk you guys through it. So it's going to be called Sense Color React, which is what you saw the demo of. So on the green, it goes forward. On the yellow, it goes backwards. On the red, it stops and leaves the program, and it just sits there normally, idly, and snores. So let's go ahead and I'm going to introduce you guys to some things about the status light and how to put an image on the screen. I also forgot to mention before the demo, I'm going to show you guys how to create a comment, which is very simple. So let's, without further ado, go back to Go Forever. So what we're going to do in Go Forever is, oh, sorry. Let me go to the color sensor project. So right now we have an infinite loop, and we just want to go on this loop for an infinite amount of time, okay? So we're going to go on an infinite loop amount of time, and what we want to do within this, I'm just making things smaller, by the way, by holding down the control key and my mouse ball. And that's making things a little bit smaller because I know I want to put some stuff in here. So let's go through this together. See how frustrating this is, this interface, okay? Click and drag. It doesn't want me to like resize. So click and drag. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to put the switch in first. So let's drop a switch in. And this switch will be based on the color sensor, okay? Let's just drag this out a little bit, see if we can map this up a little bit. So let's just base this switch on our color sensor. Go pick the color sensor and we're going to measure color, okay? And as you can see, when the measure color, and it's on port 3, don't forget about port 3, always have your communications cable and the plug in the port that this indicates. Again, I'll repeat myself, ports that are numeric are usually the sensors, and ports that are alphabetic are usually the motors, A, B, C, D, and D, sorry. And up here you'll see that this is a switch. Again, what a switch has is it has different cases, and it's got a default case. Right now we want to make sure that our default case is the case where we have no color, okay? I'm just going to start with the default case because it's almost the easiest. And what we want to do in the default case is that basically what the default case means is if it comes through and it meets this criteria, this is the default case that's executed. It's executed when no other cases are true. So let's go in, and we know that what we want this to do is we want it to sit and we want it to snore, okay, while it's sitting idle. So let's just go back to the color sensor back to make sure I do this right. So we want to have a sleeping and a snoring. So sleeping meaning we want to show on the screen. First thing I'll do is I'll put in my sound though of snoring. Okay, snapper right there. Just leave the volume at 100. Click up here the file name. I've already got snoring picked under project sounds. But again, if you go to the Lego sound files and you're looking for snoring, is it under expressions? Yes. Okay, it's under expressions. But we know that while we're snoring, I'm going to introduce you guys to the concept of changing something on the little, the brick screen. So on the brick screen, we can go down here and we can display something. So drop your display block up before. It doesn't really matter what order, but we just want the display and the sound. They both, we put the display first because this snoring sound will go until the snoring file is finished. As a matter of fact, when you notice that it's snoring and you try to scan a color, you'll see that it doesn't really recognize the scan until after the snoring file is done. And that's something you'll just have to learn how to live with. Is that if you hold a color up there and it doesn't react right away, it's because it's still in the snoring file. It won't finish and do a read up here until the file has been finished in the snoring. Same thing for the display. What we want to do is we want to clear the screen before the display is shown, and then you can identify an XY coordinate, but the ones that we'll use don't really have a coordinate for that per se. So on our screen, what we want to show is we want to show an image when we're snoring, and let's just go to an eyes, and let's there's an awake one. Let's just see here where sleeping, okay, and it gives you a little idea what it looks like. So there's the sleeping. Now we've got a sleeping image and he snores. So what'll happen is when we're looping forever, the robot's just going to sit there, because I should probably mention that. In this case, we don't want it to be moving. We just want it to be sitting there because we want it to move when we give it a command, and our commands are based on a color. The one thing I should probably mention is you got to try and find the true colors that will match. If you find that you're putting a color like either red, the yellow, or green in front of, or red, sorry, the red, yellow, green in front of the robot and it's not reacting, that's because it's not recognizing the colors. If you still have the Lego box, there's colors in there. You can actually go to lego.com somewhere and print out the colors from the Mindstorms, but I can't really help you guys with that. But please just try and find colors that work. Usually, you can find like Lego parts or something that have the colors. Those will definitely match. But you should be okay with finding colors in printed material around your house. Okay, let's not try and take too much time. So I'm just going to go back to the color sensor back so I make sure that I do the first one properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put, so the first thing we're going to do is when you get a green, we're going to go forward. And and we're going to change the status light to be green. And we'll go forward for about 3 seconds. Okay, so let's just try to build that. So first thing we're going to do, and there's a little catch here because actually our brick is kind of oriented backwards. So when our robot goes forwards, the brick is actually going backward, and that's why when we show a directional arrow on our screen, we're actually going to do the opposite of the direction it's going in. So the first thing I want to do is click on the black because we want to do something when the item is green. Okay, so sorry, when a color of the green is selected, what we're going to do is we're going to show on the screen. It's actually going to be the backward arrow, okay? So if I go up here to close this eyes, and I think, let's just see, where would the information, uh, backward, okay? So we're going to have a backward arrow actually when it's going forward. To me, that looks like a forward arrow anyways. Okay, so now we got a backward arrow, and what we want the robot to say is we want the robot to say he's going forward. So I'm going to put up here, and if I look at project sounds, sorry, Lego sound files, let's go communication. No, it's not there. Where is it? Where is it? Information. Yes, it's going to be here. Forward.
Forward.
Okay, so there we go. It's gonna show the image of backward, but he's actually gonna say forward. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys was how to change the brick status light. So what we're gonna go up here is before anything happens, we're gonna change the status light. So here we go. So here's the brick status light. It's got on, off, or reset. Well, I'll show you in a minute how to do the reset. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick the color green. You can pick green, yellow, or red up here. We'll select green, and we want, let me just see what I had set in the old color sensor program. I said yes to wait. So what'll happen is it'll pulse, meaning that it'll flash. You can leave it on. You know what? I'm not going to do it because the demo showed it, but you can either leave it on continuously, which means false, it won't pulse, or you can say true and it'll pulse. I don't really care that it pulses. Just save on power, I guess, battery power. And then what's the last thing that we wanted to do? We wanted to actually move forward. So we're going to go grab our move steering block, drop it here, and we're going to go forward for 3 seconds. Okay? Just change it to be 3, but we want to make sure that it's in seconds. So we say on for seconds. So again, we've got on for seconds. We're going to go forward, and we're going to coast to a stop. Okay? So that is it for that portion of the program. But now there's a couple of things I want to show you guys how to do things to clean it up, okay? Now, when we change this brick status light here, it's going to stay green. There's nothing now to reset it. So what we want to do is we want to put a reset of the status light somewhere. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it here outside of the switch so that all of our cases that go through, we're going to just make sure that we reset the brick. So let's just take the brick status and drop it over here, okay? Outside of the switch, but inside the loop. And we're going to say off, okay? Now that means that the brick light's going to go off after it goes through the first loop. As a matter of fact, you know what? I think I might move that so that it goes off at the beginning. Because what'll happen is it'll go through here once, it'll be on, and then it'll go off. And I just rather take this. I'm going to do a Control X. I'm going to click over here somewhere. I'm going to do a Control V, and I'm going to try and grab this and just move them and drop them there. It's probably better because when this program starts up, it'll be flashing, I think, green or yellow on by default, and we'll just turn off the brick light here. But then over here, we'll turn it on. And that means when it comes back around here inside the loop, it'll hit this and it'll turn it off again. So it's probably best to to turn it off up here. And that also is probably true for the screen display. The screen display we're gonna want to reset also. And I'm gonna grab the screen display. I'm gonna plop it here. Okay. And I'm going to reset the screen. Okay. So now I don't know what I did in the backup program in the previous one. I had the reset over here, but that's okay. This will work just as good. Okay, so let me go here, and so basically this is our first scenario. What's going to happen is we're going to come into the program. We're going to turn off the brick status light. We're going to turn off the display. It's going to start the loop. It's going to come down here, and the display will show sleeping and snoring. It'll hit the loop. It'll come back here, reset, but that's okay because this is all executed. It'll turn in the screen. I don't think you'll even see a flicker. It happens so fast. Okay. Now we want to add another case. We want to add the case when yellow. So I believe that when it was yellow, we do the opposite of this. We basically show forward arrow, uh, which is really our backward arrow. We show the screen in yellow, and we say the word backwards, and then it goes backwards for 3 seconds. Oh, let me just change the time. I noticed that when I switched it back to time, it put my value back to 1. So let's just grab that. So let's add another case. So to add another case, you click on here. It's not pretty obvious, but if you add the case, let's do that. It actually added 2. Okay. Not really sure why it added 2 cases, but it did. Okay, so what I like to do actually, I'm kind of anal, so I like to have the bottom case to be the default case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to do a Control X. I'm going to click down here, and I'm going to do Control Paste. I'm going to try and grab this block and snap it to there. Now I've got my default case at the bottom, okay? Or the default case could be at the top. That's probably even better. But I prefer to see the logic of what's executed up here and then the default down below. So let's just, for the sake of it, and to go faster, let's just copy this. I'm doing a click and then a control click, control left click to select all 4. Do a Control C to copy into my clipboard. Do a Control V. Drag this down and snap it right there. Okay. Now what it did do is it pushed my block way out, which I don't like. Like again, this interface to me, I mean, it's a drag and drop interface, so they try as best they can, but it does do wonky things. You'll just have to learn how to live with it. So let's go over here. I'm going to drag this over. By the way, I just clicked up in here in the hand, and it gives you the ability to drag around, which is a little bit easier sometimes. I'm going to go back to my arrow so I could click. So what we want to do is we want to do the opposite here. So this is the circumstance when I pick yellow. You can see all the colors there, right? You can see the colors of the rainbow, basically. So in our case, we're going to do yellow. What we want to do is we want this thing to say forward. Or sorry, show the image forward. So let's go back, pick forward. There we go. So the arrow is going to go forward, and we want the robot to show the color yellow while it's doing this. We want the robot to say backward because we're actually moving in a backward direction. Let me see here. Backwards, it's called.
Backwards.
Okay, and then here, we know that to go backward, we do a minus 75 power, okay? Let me just see if I can drag that down. Oh, no. Minus 75. 1. Okay, minus 75. Easier to just type it in. My mouse is using batteries, and it's slowly dying, and I think I'm losing my click capability. Okay, so that should be okay. So I'm just gonna pop over to the backup, just to make sure that I coded this right, because I don't want to go back and forth. So forward, the arrow to show a forward arrow, then it's going to show yellow, it's going to go backwards, and then a negative 75 power for 3 seconds. So if to just compare with my other one, backward, so it says forward, it shows a forward image, sorry, and then it shows yellow, it goes backwards at a volume of 100, and then it goes minus 75. This one only went for 2 seconds. But that was because I didn't want to go too far when I was trying to show you guys the video. And then the next one is red, okay? So in the red one, what's going to happen is he's going to say, it's going to show a disappointed kind of face, and then it's going to blink in red and say the word goodbye, and then a power down sound, and then it's going to exit the loop. So I'll explain all that in a second. So first thing we want to do is we want to say that our case here is when we select red, okay? And when we select the red image, we want to change the image on the brick. So here, we're going to select an image of, so we're going to select the image up here to be, let's see here, expressions maybe. Let's just go with something interesting, sad. How about sad? Sad's good enough. Okay, so sad. And then we're going to show a red indicator, right? Okay. And he's going to say, I believe he's going to say goodbye. Okay. Let's get a sound. Drop it right here. Okay, let's go. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, and then once it says goodbye, we're gonna play another sound. It's gonna be like the power down sound. Information. No, mechanical maybe. Let me just close that. I really don't like this interface. No. Oh wait. Not mechanical. System. System makes sense, eh? Okay, just a little power down sound. And then we're going to now this is the trick. We want him to look like he's powered down, but really what he's doing is he's leaving the program. And I wanted to show you guys that when we're in a loop, I'd said before, when we're in a loop, we can do a case over here, how to end the loop, okay? You don't have to just end the loop when you hit here. You can actually end the loop programmatically anywhere that you want. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, was that there's a thing called a loop interrupt, okay? So you grab this loop interrupt and you drop it here, okay? Now what's going to happen is when you loop interrupt, it's going to leave the loop, meaning that it's going to power down and everything's going to be like the program's going to exit. So, and when the program exits, I believe the brick color and all that turns back to the normal color. So you won't this won't be impacted. And just to let you guys know one more little thing, okay? See this loop number one up here? You can actually name that loop, which is beneficial at times. So let's just give this loop a name. Wait, just a second. I'm trying to double click in there. Why won't it let me double click? Okay, let's call this looping. Okay, just something simple, looping. Now down here, when I want to exit a loop, I can pick looping. Now, the reason that both those loops were in there, when I click on here to which loop oh, by the way, you guys kind of got that, right? In this loop interrupt, I'm actually picking the loop that I want to terminate. And I'm picking looping, but now there's a looping 01 in there because I have another program over here called Go Forever, and Go Forever has a loop 1. So you can actually exit a loop in another program. That's kind of beyond what we're going to try and do today, but you guys just should know that. Okay, I don't want to keep this longer than I need to, so let's just quickly go back through it again. So at the beginning, we're going to reset our status light. we're going to reset the display to be blank, and then we're going, because we want to control all that. So, and when we get into our switch, if nothing happens and there's no color detected, it's just going to sleep and snore and sit there and do nothing. If we detect a color, red, green, or yellow, it's going to do one of these cases. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this program. We're going to go back and we're going to do I'm going to show you how to do a Go Forever program that will, and I'll give you a demo of that video before I show you how to program it. It's kind of the same thing we did now. So without further ado, let's go and take a look at the Go Forever program that I've created for this color sensor project. Thank you, and we'll be back shortly. Hi guys, there's something quickly that I forgot to do. We want to change this program name. Sorry about that. It's not really all that important, but what we want to do is we want to change it to what's on the video, okay? So if I quickly go to the video, it's called Sense Color React. So here I'm going to call this Sense Color React, and I'm spelling it with Canadian with a U. So that's Sense Color React, okay? I'm going to save that and download it. Okay, like we said, back onto the video. Sorry about that. Bye-bye. Okay, let me demo this. I'm going to run the Go Forever program, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to push the button on the back to make it snore. Pause for a minute. I'm going to block it with my feet so it stops and detects that with the infrared sensor and turns. And then I'm going to use the Rubik's Cube to show it the color red to stop it, to do the loop interrupt in the second parallel running program. So without any further ado, let me just start this program. Go Forever. Okay. Put the foot there. Okay, turn. Let me stop it that way. Okay. It's going to start again. It's going to turn. Make it turn again. Make it turn again. Just for fun, push the button. And now I'm going to stop it. Get the red. End of the demo. Thank you. Okay, hi everyone. Let's just try and get through this without making too many mistakes so that you can go ahead and program this so it can work the way that you want it to work. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the Go Forever program that we've been working on since lesson 1, or lesson 2, I guess, technically, and we're going to expand now to include the color sensor. And what we want to have happen, as you know, you saw in the demo, is that when the color sensor detects the color red, we're going to stop going all over the place and it's just going to exit the program. So that is quite similar to what we did in the Sense Color React, where when I showed it the red color, he, the robot, made a sad face. It kind of blinked stuff in red. It said goodbye. It said goodbye. It did a power down sound, and then it exited the loop. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go back to this Go Forever program, and we're going to add the case down here, where we can now go determine if the color sensor is sensing anything. So if you guys remember, what's happening in this one is that Go Forever means that. It means it's just going basically forever, and this is the loop. This loop is based on unlimited time, but now, as you know, we're going to stop the loop now, and I'm going to show you guys how that's done. So as a result of the color sensor detecting red, I mean. So what'll happen here is, again, the case logic is if the infrared sensor is detected, it goes through here, meaning that it's within a certain, distance of a wall. It's going to back up, it's going to turn, and it's going to keep going. And as long as it meets a wall, it's going to just do this one. If it's going through free space and it's not seeing any wall, or the threshold is, outside of this range of 15, it's going to drop down to this switch. This switch then determines whether or not the touch sensor had been touched. If the touch sensor had been touched, it does this. It pauses, it snores, and then it sits there for a bit, and then it starts up again, and it goes back through the loop where it just does this until it determines something here or nothing there. So basically, if this is not true and this is not true, then this is the path it goes through. So what we want to do now is we want to add a case where I'm going to determine whether there's been something on the color sensor, and specifically whether it's been red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another switch. And where we put our switch is right here, okay? Because this is the negative path. If I don't determine this is, if this is not true, then determine this. If this is not true, then determine this. If this is not true, then do that, okay? If this is true, then do that. But what we want to do here is we want to change to our color sensor. So we want to measure a color here, and we want to determine whether or not it was red, okay? If it was red, we want to do this. If it wasn't red, there's no color, we do this, okay? So let's go and grab, which is going to be frustrating and I hope not too frustrating. I'm going to grab this block of logic. And what I did was I just clicked on the first one and then I control click, control click, control click, control click. Say that 4 times. And I'm doing a control C, which is edit, basically a copy, right? And I'm going to go over to my Go Forever program. And I'm just going to try this. I'm going to click right here. Okay. And I'm going to do a control V, which is a paste. So it's really close. Just grab it and try and move it and snap it. Okay. Now you'll know that this all got pushed over. I'm not going to go through and try and stretch all this out because it's a real hassle. But you guys have to know that this is still honored, the whole loop mechanism. It's still going to be there. You can see that's there. But again, this is really annoying because, well, let me just drag it out and see what happens. See, this is why I don't want to fool around with it. Just drag it out. Drag it out. So now we're good. Again, I'm having a problem with my mouse, and sometimes I don't like to do that when I'm doing a video demo, but you can get stuck for days trying to like fix these things when it does some automatic crap. Okay, so now let's walk through what's going on in the Go Forever program because there's one more, or maybe actually a couple more things I want to do that we have to do. One is that this is going to go forever until if this is not true, and this is not true, and this is true, meaning that we're moving forever, but we sense red. It's going to make a sad face on the screen. It's going to start showing the brick in red. The color is going to flash red, meaning, and it's going to say the word goodbye. It's going to, when it finishes that, it's going to power down with the power down sound, and then it's going to exit the loop. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our loop interrupt is correct. Because right now, it's going to interrupt the loop name looping, which is in our back in our sense color react, because I just copied and pasted, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that this ends the proper loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give this a more meaningful name. I'm going to call this loop forever. Okay? Well, how about loop until red? Loop until red. Okay? Loop until red. So now if I go down here, I'm going to exit my loop until red. Right? Because this is the program I'm running. It's go forever. So if we just recap, our negative path, not true, not true, not true, goes through here. Hits the forever, just keeps going until it hits a wall, basically, or a button is pushed, or it senses red. The only last thing that I wanted to show you guys was, okay, there's actually one thing I wanted to do, because when I'm going forever and I sense red, I don't want it to like do all this stuff while it's still moving. I want it to stop immediately. And because this has to finish and this has to finish, it's going to keep going. That doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a move steering block. I'm going to put it right at the beginning of this switch here. Okay? And I'm just going to turn the motor off. So now what happens is when it senses red, it's going to immediately stop the motor. It's going to show a sad face. The brick will go red about the same time this happens. Then it'll say the word goodbye, power down, and then it's going to exit the loop, and so the program will terminate. The only other thing I wanted to show you guys, because I forgot to do it in the Sense Color React one, was show you how to add a comment. Because a lot of times when you come back and look at your code, you can't remember what the heck it's doing. So let's go up here, and if you grab this block here, you can see it just created a comment. I'm just going to like take that, make it a little bigger, okay? And now in here you can start writing something. So you can say, this program moves in a, this program um, this program shows the robot moving forward until one of the following happens. Okay? 1. The infrared sensor detects an object, then the robot moves back for 1 second and turns right, then keeps going. 2, touch sensor is touched, robot pauses, snoozes, restarts. 3, color sensor senses red, program. Okay, well, first of all, he does the same kind. He says sad, becomes sad, says goodbye, and the program terminates. Okay, so that's all you got to do. You can add the comment there. Now it's done. I'm going to save this project. I'm going to download it and make sure it works, and hope that you guys enjoyed this lesson. And we're going to be moving on to our next lesson, lesson 6. I'm not sure what the topic is, but I hope to see you guys there. Thank you. Bye-bye.